Welcome ghouls to the Movie Pit, back on YouTube for the first time in many years. We are your destination for brutally honest review for all your favorite genre films, and everything cinema has to offer. I'm your host, Dr. Ghoulula. Let's not waste any more time and get this started. Holy shit. I can't believe I'm finally sitting down to talk about Drop. This fucking intense thriller that's been on my radar since it was announced. Christopher Landon's 2025 Nail-Biter is one of those movies that grabs you by the throat and doesn't let go until the goddamn credits roll. The premise is pretty straightforward but executed brilliantly. Meghann Fahy plays Violett Gates, a widowed mom who's finally getting back into the dating scene after her abusive husband's suicide. But what should be a simple dinner date turns into a complete clusterfuck when she starts receiving threatening digital messages that make her question everything and everyone around her. This motherfucker of a movie takes a simple concept, a woman on a date, and turns it into a shit-your-pants thriller that explores how technology can be weaponized against us. Let me break down this batshit crazy plot because there's a lot of fucked up twists to unpack. So Violett, this poor therapist who's been through absolute hell with an abusive husband who killed himself, finally decides to put herself out there. She leaves her kid Toby with her sister Jen and heads to this fancy-ass restaurant called Palette to meet Henry, some photographer she's been chatting with on a dating app. While she's waiting for this guy to show up, she meets a bunch of people. The bartender, a pianist, and some other random diners. Then the weird shit starts happening. She gets these fucking Digi-Drops from some anonymous asshole, starting with harmless memes that quickly turn into threatening messages. When Henry finally arrives, this poor woman is already freaking the fuck out. The situation goes from bad to absolutely fucked when the anonymous sender tells Violett to check her home security cameras. Holy shit, there's a masked gunman who's beaten her sister unconscious and locked her kid in his room. This motherfucker threatens to kill her son if she tries to leave or tell anyone what's happening. And if that's not twisted enough, the restaurant is bugged, and everything she does is being watched. The psycho behind it all starts ordering her around like a goddamn puppet. First, she has to grab a camera from Henry's bag and destroy the SD card. Turns out Henry's got evidence of the mayor's embezzlement scheme. Then the sick bastard tells her to poison Henry. She tries to get help from the pianist instead, but he ends up dropping dead after being poisoned himself. Talk about a plan going to shit. After more fucked up back and forth, we discover the mastermind behind all this crap is Richard, this seemingly normal diner who's been watching her all night. This piece of shit works for the corrupt mayor and plans to kill Henry, who's going to testify, and frame Violett for the murder. The clever bitch that she is, Violett poisons Richard's dessert instead of Henry's drink. Everything goes to absolute hell after that. Richard shoots Henry, Kara gets hurt, and Richard's henchman is ordered to kill Toby and Jen. The whole thing culminates in a fucking crazy fight that sends Richard and Violett crashing through a window. Richard plummets to his death like the garbage he is, while Henry saves Violett. The madness doesn't stop there. Violett races home to find her sister and son fighting for their lives. There's this brutal showdown where Jen gets shot, Violett gets overpowered, but then the kid grabs the gun, and Violett blows the henchman away. The ending wraps everything in a neat little package. The mayor's fucked, the bad guys are dead, and Violett and Henry plan a second date. After all that shit, they're still willing to try dating again. Talk about resilience. Holy fucking shit, Meghann Fahy absolutely crushes it as Violett Gates. Her performance is a goddamn masterclass in portraying a woman walking the razor's edge between trauma and survival. You can see every ounce of her character's backstory etched into her facial expressions. The way her eyes dart around the restaurant, constantly scanning for threats like someone who's lived with an abusive husband and learned to anticipate danger. When those first Digi-Drops start coming through, the subtle shift in her demeanor is fucking brilliant. She doesn't immediately fall apart like some bullshit damsel in distress. No, Fahy plays it with this perfect mix of confusion, irritation, and then the slow burning realization that something is seriously motherfucking wrong. The standout scene has got to be when she sees the home security footage. Jesus Christ, the way her entire body tenses up while trying to maintain composure in public is absolutely gut-wrenching. You can practically feel her heart stopping while her brain races through possible options. That shit is acting. What's most impressive is how Fahy balances Violett's vulnerability with her resourcefulness. She's scared out of her fucking mind, but never stops thinking, plotting, and fighting back. The scene where she has to kiss Henry to keep him from leaving while plotting her next move shows her incredible range. shifting from seduction to terror to calculation in seconds. By the time we get to the climactic confrontation with Richard, Fahy has taken us on such a journey that we're completely invested in her survival. The raw fury and determination she brings to that final home showdown makes you want to stand up and cheer when she finally gets to pull that trigger. This role firmly establishes Fahy as a leading lady who can carry the emotional weight of an entire thriller on her shoulders and make it look effortless. Now, let's talk about the supporting cast. Because, holy shit, this movie doesn't just rest on Fahy's shoulders alone. Brandon Sklenar as Henry Campbell brings this perfect fucking balance of charm and mystery that keeps you guessing whether he's a genuine good guy or hiding some dark shit. His chemistry with Fahy is electric. Those early date scenes crackle with tension, and you can feel that awkward first date energy that quickly morphs into something much more fucking sinister. Violett Beane deserves a goddamn medal for her performance as Jen. Despite limited screen time, she makes you give a shit about her character immediately. When that masked asshole attacks her in the house, Beane sells the absolute terror and protective instinct with such conviction that I was literally on the edge of my fucking seat. The hospital scene at the end showcases their sisterly bond perfectly. That shit feels authentic. Reed Diamond as Richard is a magnificent bastard throughout this film. He plays the villain with this restrained psychopathy that makes his eventual unraveling all the more disturbing. The restaurant confrontation scene where he reveals himself as chilling as fuck. The way his pleasant demeanor drops away to expose the cold-blooded killer underneath made my skin crawl. The minor characters deserve some fucking praise too. Gabrielle Ryan, Spring, as bartender Kara adds this perfect amount of warmth and then concern as things escalate. Jeffrey Self as Matt the waiter brings these subtle notes of suspicion that feed into the paranoia-soaked atmosphere perfectly. What's impressive is how each supporting character contributes to the claustrophobic thriller vibe. Everybody feels like a potential threat or a potential ally, and you're never quite sure which is which until the shit hits the fan. That uncertainty is what makes the entire supporting ensemble work so damn effectively in building the film's unbearable tension. Christopher Landon's direction and drop is fucking masterful. The man knows how to squeeze every drop of tension out of a scene until you're practically shitting yourself in anticipation. His approach to building suspense is methodical yet relentless, like water torture but for your nerves. The way Landon handles the restaurant setting is goddamn brilliant. He transforms Palette from an elegant dining establishment into a claustrophobic nightmare. The camera gradually closes in as the story progresses, making the space feel smaller and more suffocating with each passing minute. You can practically feel the walls closing in around Violett as her situation becomes more desperate. Landon's pacing deserves serious fucking praise. He knows exactly when to let scenes breathe and when to hit the accelerator. The early date scenes unfold with this excruciating slowness that builds dread, while the third act explodes with chaotic energy. It's like being slowly pushed to the edge of a cliff before being violently shoved off. The visual storytelling is where this motherfucker really shines. The way he frames Violett, isolated in crowds, uses reflective surfaces to create disorientation, and employs harsh lighting shifts to signal mood changes is textbook psychological thriller direction. There's this incredible overhead shot during the restaurant confrontation that makes everyone look like pieces on a chessboard. It's fucking inspired. What impressed me most was Landon's restraint with the digital elements. Instead of bombarding us with flashy tech bullshit, he shows the Digi-Drops as these simple, terrifying intrusions into Violett's world. Each notification becomes a heart-stopping moment of dread. When Violett watches her home security footage, Landon splits the screen to show her horrified reaction alongside the invasion. It's gut-wrenching filmmaking that punches you right in the fucking soul. The cinematography in Drop is a fucking visual feast that perfectly complements the nail-biting tension throughout the film. The director of photography deserves a goddamn medal for crafting shots that make you feel like you're trapped right alongside Violett in her nightmare. The high-rise restaurant setting is utilized to absolute perfection. Those floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city create this unsettling fishbowl effect. Violett's terror unfolds against the backdrop of twinkling city lights that emphasize how isolated she is, despite being surrounded by people. It's like watching a mouse in a glass cage with nowhere to fucking hide. The way they shoot the Digi-Drops is brilliant shit. Instead of just cutting to phone screens, the camera lingers on Fahy's face as the blue light illuminates her features or expressions telling the whole goddamn story. When those increasingly threatening messages appear, they're reflected in her eyes, It's subtle but scary as fuck how they blend the tech elements into the visual language. The camera work during tense moments is absolutely shit-hot. Tight close-ups during conversations make you question every character's intentions. There's this particularly jarring sequence when Violett confronts Connor, where the handheld camera work becomes erratic, mimicking her spiraling paranoia. And when the glass shatters during the climactic fight scene, holy shit, the slow-motion fragmentation is visually spectacular while serving the story's tension. The color palette deserves mention too. Starting with warm, romantic lighting that gradually shifts to colder, harsher tones as the nightmare unfolds. By the final act, those blues and silvers make everything feel clinical and dangerous as fuck. It's visual storytelling at its most effective. The sound design in Drop is absolutely fucking brilliant and one of the most underappreciated aspects of this thriller. The audio team deserves serious goddamn recognition for creating a soundscape that crawls under your skin and stays there throughout the entire runtime. From the moment Violett enters that high-rise restaurant, the ambient noise is meticulously crafted bullshit that works on your nerves. The background chatter, clinking glasses, and that motherfucking pianist playing in the corner, it all creates this false sense of safety that makes the threatening Digi-Drops all the more jarring when they hit. The notification sounds deserve special mention. They start as innocuous little pings, but evolve into something far more sinister as the threats escalate. By the third act, that simple fucking alert sound is enough to make your heart race. It's Pavlovian shit at its finest. The score itself walks a perfect line between subtle and shit-your-pants terrifying. During tense moments, like when Violett discovers the security footage of her home, the music builds with this low-frequency rumble that makes your chest tighten. It's anxiety-inducing as fuck without being obvious about it. What really impressed the shit out of me was how they handle silence. Those moments when all sound drops out right before a major revelation or jump scare, goddamn masterful. The contrast between the restaurant's bustling atmosphere and those dead, quiet beats makes you feel like you can't breathe. The sound mixing during the climactic window-shattering scene is next-level work. The crystalline sound of breaking glass combined with the rushing wind and screams creates this chaotic auditory nightmare that matches the visual spectacle perfectly. Your ears are as assaulted as your fucking eyes. Holy shit, Drop is a masterclass in how to use technology as a central fucking plot device instead of just window dressing. The Digi-Drops messaging system is such a brilliant way to create modern tension. It turns something we all use daily into a weapon of psychological fucking torture. Those escalating digital threats are goddamn terrifying because they feel so real. We've all had that moment of dread when our phone pings with an unexpected message, but this film cranks that anxiety up to 11. The way those innocent memes gradually become more sinister is the kind of slow burn mindfuck that gets under your skin. The home security system angle is another stroke of genius. The moment Violett checks her cameras and sees that masked motherfucker in her house is absolute nightmare fuel. It transforms what should be a safety tool into a front row seat to her worst fears. That's some twisted shit that plays on our modern anxieties about surveillance and vulnerability. Speaking of surveillance, the restaurant being bugged and Violett being watched is some serious Hitchcock-level paranoia updated for a digital age. The film creates this suffocating feeling that there's nowhere to fucking hide. Not in public, not in private conversations, not even in your own goddamn home. What makes all this tech shit really work is how accessible it feels. There's nothing science fiction about it, just everyday technology turned against you. The film understands that the scariest threats aren't fancy hacking or unrealistic tech wizardry, but the simple exploitation of the digital tools we've already welcomed into our lives with open arms. That's what makes the whole premise so effectively fucked up. Let's get to the fucking point. Drop It isn't a perfect thriller, but it's a damn good ride that deserves a solid 7 out of 10 stars. The film has its head firmly up its ass in some areas, but absolutely nails others in a way that makes you forgive its shortcomings. The greatest strength of this motherfucker is how it modernizes classic thriller elements with today's technology. Hitchcock would have creamed his pants over the possibilities of Digi-Drops and security cameras as tension builders. That shit is handled masterfully here, creating genuine anxiety without resorting to cheap jump scares or contrived bullshit. On the weaker side, some plot conveniences are harder to swallow than a dry fucking bagel. The poison sequence stretches credibility, and Richard's villain monologue borders on eye-rolling territory. The film occasionally takes shortcuts when patience might have served the story better. Meghann Fahy carries this movie on her shoulders like a goddamn champion. Without her nuanced performance balancing vulnerability and resourcefulness, this whole house of cards might have collapsed into a pile of thriller cliches. The direction and cinematography create a pressure cooker atmosphere, particularly in that restaurant setting where the walls seem to close in with each passing minute. That high-rise location is used to full effect, becoming both prison and potential death trap. Drop succeeds because it understands something fundamental about modern anxiety. Our phones and cameras aren't just tools anymore, they're potential weapons that can be turned against us at any fucking moment. It's a thriller that feels relevant without trying too hard to be of the moment. When the credits roll, you're left with a film that doesn't reinvent the wheel but spins it with enough confidence and style to make the journey worthwhile. A solid 7/10 that earns its place among better-than-average thrillers by understanding exactly what kind of movie it wants to be and delivering on that promise with conviction. Thank you for tuning in to the resurrection of the Movie Pit on YouTube. Please comment, like, and subscribe to keep up with all future offerings. So boils and ghouls, have a wicked scary night and don't let the bed bugs bite. And as always, till next time, kiddies.